Entitled mom thinks we're at daycare. Welp, her child is now gone. I used to work in a small chain of bookstores/stationery shops. We'd sell books, pens, paper, and so on. It was a quirky little store, straight out of a romantic love novella, or a Stephen King book if you prefer. This happened a few years ago, and I reconstruct it from memory. While trying to be as accurate as possible, I can't guarantee it. The cast of the play: EM, entitled Mother; LG, a South Korean multinational conglomerate corporation, little girl; me, a virtue example of a working class hero, or rather just me; ND, nice dad of the little girl. The story: entitled mom walks into the store with a little girl. It's rather early in the morning. Entitled mom looks around, asks me if I could watch her child. Oh no, I'm terrible with children, sorry. Entitled mom tells me that it's not for that long, and I shouldn't be such a fuss about it. I politely refuse. It's not my job to watch children. I'm afraid to do something wrong. What happens? Entitled mom leaves the store. Who do I find hidden in the corner? Little girl, who seems to be rather shy/fearful. This happened back in a time before everyone had smartphones. The kid obviously didn't have a mobile on him. I suspected the mother also didn't. Wasn't too surprised that little girl didn't know the number of her landline. I sigh. What are you gonna do? If something happens to that kid while being in the store and you're the only present employee, you're gonna have a bad time. Hey girl, what's your name? Says her name. I'm my name and surname. Little girl, happy like only kids can be when they think they did something smart or they know something. My surname is surname. Now, this rang a bell. I had a good customer with the same surname. It turns out that it's her dad. I didn't get paid enough to babysit. In fact, I didn't even get paid enough to do my normal work. I call her dad at his workplace since we're saved that number in our system. The call went along these lines. Hi, nice dad. Here's me from bookstore XY. Oh, hi. How's it going? I don't remember having any open orders. Yeah, look, listen, do you have a daughter? Yes, why do you ask? What's her name? I just wanted to ensure that it's really her dad and not just a stupid coincidence. If I think now about it, LG told me it's her dad, so I don't know why I wasn't sure. Nice dad apologizes for entitled mom's behavior and tells me he's gonna pick up little girl as soon as possible. While waiting for nice dad, I picked up one of our sale books. Box with damaged books so that we try to sell with huge discount before throwing away. A picture book from Disney. Little girl tries to read a little. I read a little. Nice dad arrives. Little girl runs to him and hugs him, crying that mommy was mean to her. Nice dad soothes her and thanks me for babysitting her. He gives me a bottle of wine and buys something small from the store. If entitled mom shows up again, could you not tell her that I picked up my little girl? What? Why? If you don't feel like it, you don't need to. It's rather complicated, and you already did so much for me. Nice dad leaves. In the evening, entitled mom shows up. Just to point out, she dropped off little girl at about 9. It was 17:45, or 5:45 p.m. now. Where's my daughter? Me, already chugged about half a bottle of wine and thus little boozed. Your what? My daughter? I dropped her in the store and you were here. Me, way too drunk for work, but already decided to go for another job or homeless. Both would have been better. Your what? Entitled mom was on edge. Thus, I did what I thought was the smartest thing to do. I have a feeling it's not actually the smartest thing to do. A guy came into the store and picked her up. He seemed nice, gave me some wine for her. At this point, I expected her to explode or attack me, but she just left the store. A few weeks pass and nice dad and little girl come to the store, both happy to see me. Nice dad asks if I got a few minutes, an excuse not to work? Obviously, I took the time for customer service. Gave little girl the same book we read last time and had a talk with nice dad. Entitled mom and nice dad were in the middle of a divorce when entitled mom dropped little girl at her store. One of the reasons nice dad wanted a divorce was that entitled mom wasn't nice to little girl. Now, in my country, as a male, it's rather hard to get custody for your child, no matter what. Little girl wanted to be with nice dad, but that doesn't matter. Entitled mom dropping little girl in her store was a gift from the heavens. Nice dad took little girl to his sister overnight. Entitled mom pretended that little girl was sleeping at one of her friends. Nice dad wanted to call them just to ensure that little girl was fine. Entitled mom didn't want that. Little girl's friend didn't know where little girl was. Entitled mom claimed she dropped little girl at little girl's friend. Nice Dad faked panic and involved the police. Entitled Mom insisted that little girl's friend kidnapped the little girl. Police asked Nice Dad and Entitled Mom separately, and Nice Dad told the police what happened. Entitled Mom still insisted on her dropping little girl's friend. Nice Dad have proof of it being otherwise since he already called the police when he dropped little girl at his sister's house. Now in court, Nice Dad apparently said something like, "Entitled Mom can have all she wants, even my wine collection. I just want to be with my daughter." Entitled Mom, knowing that Nice Dad didn't have any money left and had some quite expensive wines, agreed. Daughter ended up with Nice Dad, mother paying alimony. What Entitled Mom didn't know, Nice Dad was replacing his wine collection before the divorce with the cheapest wines he could find at different discounters, gifting away the expensive ones. He knew that Entitled Mom either is going to take everything from him or will break his wine collection. We both laughed. I gifted the book to a little girl who seemed very happy. When Entitled Mom dropped her, she was shy, seemed small, and now she had such a big smile on her face and was curious for everything. She could read much better than a few weeks ago. She seemed like a bird, taking off to fly toward the sun. I absolutely hated my job, but situations like these make me a little bit nostalgic. Somehow, I miss direct interactions with customers. On the other hand, I don't. I obviously don't. Wow, how does his mom treat her daughter like that? Just leaves her at some random bookstore and disappears for like 8 or 9 hours. In any case, she clearly didn't like her. I'm just happy that that little girl ended up with her nice dad, who actually cares about her. The wine thing was also a nice touch. I suppose it makes him less quote-unquote nice, but that Entitled Mom deserved it. So I think we can call this a happy ending.
This is America. Speak English or get out!
Entitled Parent falsely accuses me and yells for not speaking English with my friend in a cafe. Here's the background. I live in a predominantly white suburban neighborhood in America. This neighborhood is so disproportionately white that I would say 90% of the people I know are white, and I seldom see more than 10 non-white people in a day. I really don't mind this fact, as I have grown to be very fond of this neighborhood. Race doesn't really matter to me, and I consider myself privileged for living the good life I live. 99.9% of the people in this neighborhood are very nice and caring. It's just the 0.01% that this story is about. I'm a Korean-American teen living in America who immigrated from Korea when I was around 6. I speak English fluently, albeit with a moderate Korean accent, which I've had pointed out to me over the years, often in a derogatory way. Doesn't help that I'm in a neighborhood where people aren't used to it. I've been teased before. Doesn't really bother me as I can't really refute. I have 2 names, my American and my Korean. This is important later on. Now to bring in my friend. We'll call her Friend for convenience. Now I've known her for a while now, and she recently moved to America from Korea about a month ago to my town. Keyword, recently moved. She knows practically no English aside from the schools taught her back in Korea. Her vocabulary consists of simple words like sorry, hello, how are you, please, etc. She's very unconfident about speaking English to other people, and naturally doesn't say much for fear of not knowing what to say. Because I wanted to hang out with her and talk to her, I invited her to go to the cafe, which had a staff that had another Korean person in it. I was good friends with this staff, and I wanted my friend to meet more Korean people so that she could talk to more people than just me. One day we decided to go to our local cafe together, and it is here where we met the entitled parent. Note, dialogue here will be roughly translated for convenience, so it might sound a little bit awkward. When the conversation is Korean, I'll pretext it with KO. Cast goes as follows: me, friend, EP, entitled parent, EK, entitled kid, CW, cafe worker. Me and my friend were just talking about regular stuff, mostly how have you been and long time no see kind of talk, as it's the first time I've seen her in a while, amongst all the unpacking and business of moving. Friend, I don't think I could ever get used to America. Everything's so inconvenient here. Getting used to it would be like plucking a star out of the sky, Korean saying for impossible. Besides, why is internet so slow here? I could take a shower in the time it takes me to search something up. At this point, entitled kid comes walking along, notices us talking. He stares at us while walking with 2 coffees in his hand, before coming to a stop at our table.
You should speak English.
Me, taken aback. I'm sorry, what?
You should speak English. This is America, not China.
Friend, not understanding the situation and thinking we did something wrong. Sorry. Why do we have to speak English here? We aren't even speaking to you. What did we do wrong? Nothing, it's just this kid wants us to speak English.
Are you making fun of me?
Sorry, I don't speak English very good. Haha, so you've gotten good at English. A huge mistake. At this point, entitled kid is convinced that we're making fun of him and stomps off, visibly angry. What did we do wrong? Why did you apologize? Don't apologize to people like him. We were doing nothing wrong, don't worry. Is this common in America? I started to reassure her that this was the first time this happened to me, and it's not at all common. This is where entitled parent showed up, entitled kid at her side.
I hear you've been making fun of my kid.
No, we weren't. We were just speaking to each other.
I'm not someone you want to lie to. You were making fun of my kid in Chinese, weren't you?
I told you we weren't.
Stop with this BS. I know both of you can speak English and deliberately chose to speak Chinese in front of my kid. What were you saying?
Ma'am, my friend doesn't speak English. She moved from Korea a month ago and barely knows it. That's why we were talking in Korean.
No, you're wrong. I heard her say sorry to me in English. I know she can speak English.
At this point, my friend had had enough, and I could tell she was on the verge of tears. Imagine someone accusing you and yelling at you in a language that you don't even understand, and not being able to defend yourself. The sight of this made me especially angry and panicked, and I lashed out. Just because I know how to say hola in Spanish doesn't mean I know all of effing Spanish. Please leave us the F alone. At this point, this was causing a commotion with some of the other people at the cafe.
You don't speak to me like that with that kind of language. Apologize to me right now.
What do we have to apologize for? We did nothing wrong. Why do I have to speak English just because you're here?
You will not disrespect me or my kid this way. This is America. You should be speaking English. English! Do you know how rude it is to everyone around you? If you want to speak Chinese, go back to China.
At this point, my friend started to cry a bit. And at this point, one of the staff, the Korean one I talked about earlier, finally overheard the situation and came over. Ma'am, is there a problem here?
Yes, these two kids are making fun of my child in Chinese.
Do you speak Chinese?
No, but they should be speaking English. They were laughing at my kid. They both speak English. They should be kicked out of this cafe for this.
Cafe worker in Korean, gently. Hey, were you making fun of this kid?
No,
we really weren't. He approached us first. Entitled parent, not understanding Korean and being a genuine idiot.
Are you siding with her in this?
Ma'am, you know people have the right to speak whatever language they want to hear, right?
They have the right to make fun of my kid in whatever language they want, even when she knows English. If they want to say something, say it to my face.
Cafe worker, Korean, to my friend. Do you speak English? You are much more comfortable in Korean, right? What happened? Don't worry about language. I'm Korean too. Just tell me what happened. My friend proceeded to explain everything that happened. Ma'am, friend here is saying that your kid was the one who bothered them first.
That's a complete lie.
Because if you want, I can check the cameras for you. You know, just as double checking. Entitled parent was adamant, but entitled kid visibly reacted to this.
How dare you accuse my kid of instigating this situation? Let me see the evidence right now.
Instead of yelling at kids over this, why don't we find some tangible evidence instead of some claims? Entitled kid whispered something to entitled parent. Miss, if you keep this up, we might have to call the police for harassment and disturbance of public peace. It was then that entitled parent suddenly changed her mind.
Look, lady, I don't have time for this. I have a meeting to get to.
Entitled parent glared at me.
This was a huge waste of time. Goodbye.
It was obvious that she was just trying to leave the situation. We didn't try to pursue her as we didn't want to poke the fire and ruin our day more than it had been ruined. On the bright side, I never saw her again. I know that compared to other crazy stories here, this one is pretty boring and just a stereotypical cliche case of racism. Perhaps I was just unlucky. But let's say that just because of this situation, my friend started America on the wrong foot. Heck, even on the wrong leg. Oh well, I guess things like this happen. TLDR, Mom wants me kicked out of a cafe for not speaking English, and then leaves the cafe when worker threatens to call police. Man, if I were them, I would have held her there and called the police and waited for the police to arrive. This kind of behavior really shouldn't go unpunished. Like, how self-centered do you have to be to assume that other people who are just talking in some language you don't understand, they're obviously talking about you and making fun of you? Anyway, hope that girl gets to see the good side of America and doesn't think everyone is like this. So which entitled parent do you guys think was most entitled? Let me know in the comments section below. If you want more where that came from, simply click on one of these boxes right here. And if you liked the video, I assume you did since you're still here, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like and a subscribe to help me grow my cat and feed my channel. I'll see you in the next episode of Reddit Chronicles.